It's 11:45 on Thursday night and we are in a very, very special place. Right down there, there are batteries, there are valves, there are goodness knows what, there are gauges. So this is the Euston loop that we're going to walk later.
Good evening everyone, my name's Neil. I'm going to be keeping you safe tonight. I haven't yet tested for traction current, so we can't yet go on the track. So I've booked out the Northern Line between Euston and King's Cross, both roads including the Euston loop, and also the Piccadilly line on the King's Cross loop up to platform 6 at King's Cross on the Piccadilly line. Callback time is 04:25, so it's early current tonight. But I'd like us off the track maybe 15 minutes before that, just so we're not rushing. Everybody's got their PPE on. Any questions, anyone? No?
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm now going to go and test the traction and then we'll be good to go.
Right.
Lovely. Thank you. Okay, we're safe to go on.
It's worth just explaining where we're going. So if we look back down the platform, that was originally an island platform with, on the right-hand side, the southbound, and then on the left-hand side of what is now a platform, that used to be the northbound of the City and South London Railway. Now the platform was modified when the Victoria line came along into how we see it today, but at either end there is still the remains of the tunnel, the running tunnels. That way would have gone off to a traverser, and behind us, well, we're about to see. I have been through the still before, so it's quite good fun. Let's see if we can get through it.
It's not your first rodeo.
Depends whether you have the magic key. If not, I'm going to do a sneaky peek around the corner. But here we go.
Wow.
The magic door moment.
And that is the old northbound.
Yep.
Thank you.
It's a lot better than climbing down onto the track off the platform, isn't it?
That is bonkers.
What do you reckon, Law? Cross-shooting moment?
Dun, dun, dun.
So I think it might be worth just a little sneaky peek back this way before we go and do the loop. Because this is proper old deep tube heritage down here.
So theoretically, what we are walking towards now is the very start of the northbound side of the Northern Line before the Victoria line arrived.
Yeah. So this Euston was the northern terminus when the City and South London extended northwards. So that's why they had the traverser and so on, to be able to reverse the trains and go back. And it wasn't until then punched further north that trains didn't have to reverse here.
This was the northbound track until the Victoria in the 60s.
With one of those terrifyingly narrow island platforms. Basically what we're stood on now is what you call a sand drag, just in case somehow a train managed to defeat the points or came down here, you know, if you had a runaway or something, then it would hit the sand drag and then the large block of concrete.
Sand.
Rather than the station.
Isn't this incredible though, right?
Sorry, what did you call
Sand drag, as in it drags the
Gotcha.
drags the train to a halt.
just to think though, I mean, your station's queen.
Oh.
You get the fact that this would have been the station wall up until the 60s.
Right.
Euston Station, you were waiting there for a train going north. You'd have been looking at this wall, this bit of wall, because you were on that bit of platform. And when you look up, that's brick built. What would that have been?
Right, so signal cabin would
Yes.
have been there.
Up there.
Yeah.
Anyone else eyeing up how much dust is up there?
Am I up with
It's
dust?
been a while since the cleaner's been and done this bit, right?
But I'm also utterly thrilled that this all still exists. And you'd never know it was
sorting this
here.
out as well.
Because if the train's going that way, south, which is what we would normally be seeing, you never would look back at this, would you? You'd never glimpse this.
As I say, if you look out of the window at the right moment, you might get a sneaky glimpse. But of course, the engineering lights aren't on during the day,
Yeah,
are
would
they?
it be in your eye line, like ever so slightly, if you knew where you were looking and what you were?
Your only chance is if somebody has forgotten to switch off the engineering lights or they're on for some reason.
Well, there's a nice load of scrap metal here, by the way.
Yeah, well, this is one for another night
Ought
for
to
the
get
engineering
Stuart's
train,
train
isn't it?
round here. Get step-toe. So what we're looking at now, Nixie, is the southbound Northern Line on the left and the old northbound Northern Line on the right, which is now the Euston Loop.
Yeah. And so originally the purpose of this chamber was to be able to switch tracks to take the train back southbound.
Because they were both sidings,
Yeah, that's it.
effectively.
Yeah.
Both terminating platforms.
Both terminus platforms, yeah. So it's a crossover, essentially.
Yeah, it would have been a diamond crossover.
Yeah, that's right,
yeah.
diamond crossover.
Look at the lights!
Oh, wow. Hey, look, now we're starting to see these a lot now, aren't we?
Stockwell, there's another one.
Yeah.
Straight down
do you
there,
know
guys.
what? I'm gonna have to. I didn't have this when we were at Stockwell. Let's see just how close I can get.
And there's another one there, Nixie, over the other set of points.
There we go. Nice enamel, very nice indeed. That's going to make the viewer seasick doing this, but let's give it a go.
Law, occasionally I'm just going to ask you for your reaction because I know it's grubby, it's not got tiles, but do you love it?
I'm geeking out at the moment, taking tourist
Excellent.
photos.
This is the sort of spirit we like. So when I was doing my research for this,
Oh, you did research.
I did some research.
Outrageous.
I did some research, and there is record as recently as 2010 where trains with passengers were using the Euston Loop when the northbound Northern Line was closed after Euston. So trains would come up from King's Cross, they'd use the Euston Loop, they'd terminate in that southbound platform over there, and then they'd go south to start the next journey. That was 2010. Of course, they don't do this anymore. The engineering team, I presume this is because this is now deemed a siding, and passengers don't ever go in sidings, do they?
No, but it's used to reverse during degraded service. So if there's a shutdown sort of south of Euston, they can actually, maybe King's Cross or the next station down there, they can actually send the train into the Euston Loop and then into the King's Cross Loop and then back out.
Amazing.
Though interestingly, there are always exceptions. So Kennington Loop was technically like that. However, that was actually done to passenger rating, just because inevitably some people might be asleep and not get off back in the day. Now, I think one good example of just the fact that this is used is just how obviously well maintained this track is. So if you look at that, it's clean. It's obviously been maintained, greased, and you can see that one has had some very recent action. So yeah, it's all kept up to date.
Now, interestingly, I'm just looking at these points. They are set away, aren't they?
Well, yeah.
Is that how they're left when the
So when I was mentioning the sand drag down
Yeah.
there, that's exactly why. So if you did have something that somehow managed to overcome all the protections and get down here, it doesn't go careening out onto the main line. It instead goes into
To
the
the
sand
sand
drag,
drag.
which will slow it down before it hits the concrete block.
How clever.
Both those points work in conjunction with each other.
Yeah.
So one will throw and the other one
And
will
the
throw
other
at the
one
same,
same time.
It's interesting. I just noticed there's a gap there, so that it wouldn't go automatically to the southbound platform. It would actually go into the sand drag, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
The points have a normal and a reverse position.
Yep.
And you can see what the normal position is.
Yeah.
Oh man, look at that!
Oh, actual knowing what he's doing. That's great.
And these set of points, or type of points, are called 4-foot points because all the equipment is within the 4-foot.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is what makes it so interesting to try and walk past.
And that's the air
So,
feed.
It's a little bit tight on this side.
That's the air.
That's what blows the points over. And if you're standing next to that when it goes, it's very loud.
Yeah.
Utterly fascinating.
And as we know, never, never, never put your foot in that lock because it won't even notice if it operates with your foot in the way.
I don't even notice the rail here. It looks like it's got a
Elysian, is it?
bend in it.
Yeah.
It's called a joggled.
A what?
Joggled.
A joggled.
It's joggled.
And
Is that like
what's
jiggled?
What's the purpose of that? Is that
It's
that's to
just-
receive the blade,
Yeah,
so it doesn't present
yeah.
a hard edge. So that basically
Yeah.
the blade goes into the slot. So
You can see
the,
it quite
the train
nicely.
doesn't. Oh, that's
That's a much better one,
That's
actually.
really nice.
A
You can see it.
joggle or
Yeah,
joggled.
It's joggled.
It's joggled.
Yeah.
Is it a blade or a tine? It's not a tine, is it? It is
We
a
call it a
blade.
switch.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So this is the stock rail,
Yeah.
and that would be the switch rail.
All right.
Have you ever joggled, Law?
You learn something new every day.
Nicely ignored.
Where's the milk when you need it?
Yeah, you need to make a trip down here, don't you? Now, you see, actually, that's a really good point just to link back to the Elks. This is a really good example of a space that has got the rail stored to one side. It's got space to the side of the running rails, so you can swing your Elk crane out and pick it up.
And this is what you were saying about, say, places like South Kentish Town as ideal places to store rail, because the platform's gone, so there's just an easy place to store metal.
Exactly that.
Was that the old siding?
Could we just have the light on there, Stuart? Thank you. So, let's have a look, see how far that goes. Well,
Well, it's like Steptoe's Yard, this.
Well, it's the fate of any disused space to be used as a store or repurposed. But look at that.
So what would this have been then?
I think to answer that question, we're actually going to have to walk down there and see what it is, because it looks like it stops there, but I don't know. There's only one way to.
Chris thinks it's a door, so I think we should go and investigate.
Okay, well, it's like Narnia.
Let's do it.
Right.
Let's do it.
There's a lot of stuff on the floor, so do be careful where you're treading. I'm going to go floodlight, I think. Yeah, that's a bit better, isn't it?
Wow.
There's these little cheeky knock-throughs into
Yeah.
the tunnel next to us.
So are you getting angel vibes, Alex?
I am, but slightly sort of confused as to what this could have been, really. Because it's not the old northbound running tunnel. It's something else. Any ideas in terms of age of it?
Well, that's exactly what I'm looking for. I'm just looking. The lining rings normally help you. So 11 foot 8 1/4. That's a more modern standard than CSLR, and it's not. It's a bigger size tunnel than old CSLR.
Do you think it's possible to reverse this?
That is where I'm going, Chris. I think, yeah, it could well be a reversing siding that was added. There's no obvious dates on these that I'm seeing, but they're not C and SLR ones. So, yeah, I think it could be, especially as it's got a dead end. It's giving me a slight vibe of British Museum, which has a reversing siding there like that.
To be continued.
Yeah, that's one for another day.
Yeah.
Do you notice that we've stopped seeing the nice old enamel lights and it's now just a bare light bulb in a porcelain holder?
Is that sort of indicative of a siding?
Yeah, it's got no fanciness in that the only people seeing it are staff, and it's just functionally lighting the tunnel.
Yeah.
It's got this sort of central drain in the tracks. It does sort of feel quite basically hewn, doesn't it?
So what's at the other end? Oh, blimey, look at it.
It looks for all the world like a tunnel collapse rear, but it's not. It's just a rubble pile par excellence.
Well, look at the 7-car mark.
Oh, did I miss something?
7-car mark at the end.
Oh, so there is. Sorry, I was just looking in the wrong place.
Oh,
Just
wow.
there. Yeah,
It is a
well
siding.
spotted.
Well done.
Hey, he doesn't need to go to Specsavers, does
He's
he?
brilliant.
I think we're, yeah, I'm just trying to work out what that thing is, and then I've just realised it's a set of hydraulic buffers. And that's the tank reservoir. Wow, that's a beauty.
Oh, look.
That is quite an object.
That should
It's
be
basically a ram that if you hit that in the overrun, then it absorbs some of the shock.
So this is...
So this is definitely a siding with that
siding.
there, yeah.
So 7-car trains, when was that on the Northern Line? Was it the 1956, 59, 62s?
Yeah.
So this is from about that era.
Yeah.
The old silver stock that was on
So
the
where,
Northern
where,
Line.
where recently would you have seen this?
I was going to say, I don't know if I've seen anything like that.
Yeah, there is.
Seen what, sorry?
That hydraulic buffer stop.
In a-
Can you remember, Chris?
Mansion House as well, isn't
Well done.
Oh, I don't think I've seen it there.
no, I haven't.
Can you see it from the platform?
Yeah.
Is
Oh,
there?
wow. Wow. Okay, well, that's one for another day. Oh, I'm glad that was definitely worth the walk. The
It wasn't that far, the walk.
juice was worth the squeeze. Once again.
Is that a cross passage to your left?
It is, but I was eyeing that up, but unfortunately it's got a cable across it, so back we go.
Right.
So I suspect that this was the siding circuit breaker, so they could take the traction current off in the siding without affecting the main line.
Yeah. So it's a lay-by siding that we've just been into. Quite the thing.
So this is all slate.
Wow.
Solid slate.
Is it, actually, it's marble, isn't it? Looks like marble. Yeah, it's got some... Yeah, I think it's even posher than slate.
And if you look at the back, you can see where the traction cables would have gone on.
There you go, Stuart. That's
Yeah.
your,
Wow, that's a heck of a set of nuts and bolts, isn't it?
So that would basically have been power off. So you could stick a train in there and turn the power off.
Yeah.
And do you know why it's spring-loaded, Alex? I bet you do.
Because it automatically sets to the off. Is that right?
I think it's to assist braking the circuit so that you...
It's easier to do it.
So it doesn't get an arc. It basically snaps it open.
Oh, right, okay.
I think that's right.
Wow.
Answers on a postcard.
And these bits were called arc shoots.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it stops you.
So it stops the arc
Yeah.
coming out.
Right. Off we go.
Ready? So, Stuart, obviously you were a Northern Line driver way back when. How often would this Euston loop be used?
So it's used almost on a nightly basis by engineering trains since they come over to engineering vehicles operations.
Wow.
But as a driver, as a trainee driver, you would have to use this Euston stroke King's Cross loop a minimum amount of times, just while you're learning the line, just so you've got experience of it.
So that's route knowledge rather
Yeah,
than because this line
but you have
behaves
to-
differently.
Yeah, you have to. So sometimes you have to cover certain things practically and theoretically.
Yeah.
So if I was to send an engineer's driver to learn the Northern Line, because as an engineer driver you'd know all 9 lines.
Yeah.
So within our book,
Evening.
you have to cover this twice
Yeah.
within your route knowledge. So you have to. We wouldn't drive the 95 stock here. When engineers drivers come to learn the Northern Line, they would just sit up front with a line-based instructor operator. But we've got a certain amount of moves that we need to physically see as part of our route learning.
Yep.
So because it's quite a common one for us, we have to cover this twice practically and twice theoretically.
A lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Aha! Here we see an old friend.
Yeah, this is a trip cog tester. So the rule of thumb for this trip cog tester is we are going from automatic signalling, we're going over to conventional signalling. So we need to make sure the equipment that would stop us if we were to pass a red signal is working correctly. So as soon as we sort of enter the loop, the track circuits will pick up and it will bring this into play. And this trip cog tester is purely for engineers' trains.
It's basically, it's checking that the trip cock is between those two pins there, isn't it? Those uprights. I also have to say it's a powerful amount of lube on top of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because that allows it, the trip cock, basically the trip cocks that have gone through it have left that groove in the half an inch deep.
So it pushes it down. So we would have a problem getting over. So we couldn't not get over there. So what happens is this makes sure it's in the right position.
Yeah.
So it goes through, and then the lube allows it to go down. But what it doesn't do is make the train trip.
Yeah.
It doesn't act as a train stop.
So it's basically checking it's in the right position, left to right, and vertically, so that if it hits a train stop for real, it will actually trip it and put the emergency brakes on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's your trip cock tester light there.
Oh.
Aha.
So
Excellent.
Blue light. So providing that extinguishes, you're good to go.
Right. Is this an axle counter?
Yeah.
I've never actually seen one before, I don't think.
What does it do?
Counts axles.
Just tell me to get out of the way.
There'll be a section, and it'll count the axles in.
I'll just stop you there. I didn't say anything about the lube and the trip cock.
So
Meet me halfway.
This is essentially a piece of safety equipment. It's a way of effectively parity checking or double checking that the other aspects of the signalling are working, isn't it?
It's to track non-communicating trains effectively.
Right, okay. Are they also used for sort of double checking?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Not here, but they do sometimes get used for that. And essentially, what it's doing is counting, have enough wheels gone, have enough axles gone past me.
You're feeling
for the
slightly
train to
smug,
go
aren't
past.
you, about that
No,
line?
it's just it's a rare moment
Just
to be set
gently
up
smug.
for such a gem of a line. So thank you for being so gracious.
And that's why engineering trains can be quite sensitive, because we always go out with different amounts of axles.
You always struck me as
They
sensitive.
look rugged, but they're actually sensitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stuart struck me as sensitive.
Yeah. Someone's lost a traction shoe.
Yeah.
Oh, and how? That
Flew off.
has pinged.
So what's
Ow.
happened is something's happened, but
That's a new one as well.
yeah. So what they've done is just put it out of the way.
That's still got a lot of meat on the bone, and they make very nice door stops, if I may say.
Stick it in your bag.
I'm not carrying that, it's heavy.
And so this is where the Northern Line, we meet the Northern Line northbound, don't we?
Yeah.
So it's actually not a massive distance, is it, really?
Are you saying you've seen bigger, Alex?
Yeah. But what's really interesting is how you really get an idea of what the original direction of the track was and how they had to pair this off to rebuild Euston.
I think that distance is probably similar to the distance between Leicester Square and Covent Garden that we just saw on the way here.
Yeah.
If we weren't working on ballast, we'd have covered it in about the same time.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. This is all right now. So, Neil, help us out. What are we looking at? What's that down there? And what's that up there?
So this is the diverted northbound Northern Line from when the Victoria Line was built. So originally, trains would have gone down that tunnel. and this is now the diversion. Looking that way, we're looking towards King's Cross.
Brilliant. So basically, we can see that the lines are diverging. So that's kind of shooting off down there, that's shooting off down there, because in between those two northern lines, there is now the Victoria line, isn't there? So that's why the lines have kind of got to get right. Well, that one has to go around it.
And why you said it goes down
Yeah.
to allow the Victoria line to go up and over it.
That's it. So these are all layers within the ground, aren't they? And of course, the oldest lines are higher up in the ground, and then the newer lines tend to be underneath them. Tend to be, not always, but tend to be underneath them. Okay.
I was desperately looking for an enamel sign or something like at Camden.
Yeah, that's true. You do get those there, don't you? With the
Just
telling you what you're looking
desperately
at.
seeing if there was anything.
Let's do a little up high.
There you go, 1965.
What have we got?
Stanton LT. Is
Ah,
it
well
1960? 68?
60. I've got 66. You normally get like within 2 or possibly 3 years date on them.
65 on this.
So
65 there.
Yeah.
I mean, that is completely concurrent with what we were saying, wasn't it?
yeah,
Around that time,
let's
the Victoria line started 68.
as we can.
To
Let's
Euston.
get the close up.
Skills.
Thanks, love.
Was it 68?
Ivory, then it went to Warren Street.
Yeah.
Oh,
Victoria, then
and
That's right, yeah.
tunnel telephone insulators there. The old system, and those are even older. Those brown ones. Wow. Okay.
Remarkable. So this is where we join the northbound Northern Line. So we walk down here and we'll eventually get to King's Cross. But before that, we'll get to the King's Cross loop. We won't even arrive at King's Cross.
Can't wait. Let's do it.
Do you know, this is a really cool place to be actually, because this is where you can see the Euston loop and the northbound Northern Line. And then this way you can see the route to King's Cross, which is the way we would all travel, but then to the right is the start of the King's Cross loop. So if you were a Northern Line train and you wanted to go on the Piccadilly line, you'd come down the Euston loop and straight down the King's Cross loop and end up on the Piccadilly line.
Loops within loops within loops.
I'm loopy. So
We're
from
going
here you
loopy.
can literally see it all.
Let's do it. Hey, wow, this is a
It's complicated,
bit
isn't it?
more modern looking set of points, isn't it? This has got a date on it. It was installed on the 17th of February this year. Yeah, the purple bit. So it's just been refurbed. There was no way that was looking so clean if it had been there for longer than. Hey, check this out. You know how on the tube you quite often see flashes and arcing from the traction rail. Look at this beauty. You can see what that does over time. Bit of moisture, and it's.
And just to your right, Nixie,
Eaten
that's a
away
tunnel
at it.
within a tunnel.
Oh no, it's just the end. It's kind of an overlap.
But that's the thickness of the tunnel rings, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
That's the madness
it's
of
a
it.
outer tunnel.
If ever you thought it was a really thick piece of metal, it isn't.
Yeah.
Even though it weighs a ton.
Yes, that's a good point. You can actually see exactly how thick it is. Right, let's crack on. Wow, this is a complicated set, isn't it? Hey, look. It's
Hey now.
that's got a 10 on it. Do you reckon this is like a platform 9 3/4 situation going on?
Run at it and have a go.
That is a vicious curve, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's almost like King William Street, kind of. This is scrambling my sense of direction almost as much as Camden Town.
It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah.
My brain still hasn't recovered from the Camden Town.
There is a
track
like
walk.
little Camden Town
Vibe.
vibe going on.
Yeah. Can you imagine being the signal controller working this?
Looking at this actually from here, we could make the decision as to where you want to go next. Do you want to go on the Northern Line, or would you fancy shaking up a bit and turning up at the Piccadilly line.
Shake it up, shake it up.
We go down there then.
I picked the pick.
Let's
Yeah.
pick the pick.
We've picked.
You
the
didn't know
pick.
you could do this on the tube, did you? So we've seen the tripcock tester, and here we've got the other half of this. This is the train stop. So this is the thing which has a bit that comes up if the signal's at red danger, and that is the thing which the tripcock would hit and put the emergency brakes on. It does look like this one's had a kiss, doesn't it?
That's a technical term.
On the front. Yeah, there's something smacked into it like a tripcock. Oh, hey, now look, we are back into old school here, because look, LER.
London Electric Railway.
That's it, London Electric Railways, and so that's an early grouping of underground railways.
These are catch points.
Ah, right, okay, so this is to deal with a potential rollback, yeah?
So it's just a single switch.
Yeah. So effectively, better to derail the train that's out of control than let it go, yeah. So it'll basically just derail the train, yeah?
Yeah.
Last line of defence. And this bit where we've got the double rail just here, that's called, the inner one's called a check rail for people who are getting very into their track.
That'd be me then.
I can tell you
turn
Grimm's law.
Zoning out.
Just pause again.
Yes, hello.
Laura,
Oh, yes.
I have something for you.
Okay. Is it edible?
It's not edible. I'm certainly not eating anything with the amount of dust and
Dust.
grime down here. No, we have a link with Aldwych here.
Oh.
And it's right by your feet.
Oh!
Yeah. Do you know how we often say on the tour,
Interesting. Yeah,
there's
yeah,
none
yeah.
of these insulators that survive?
There it is.
Well, it turns out if you go off the bit where the public travel on the tube, they do. So
Is that a relic,
that is an
or is that
old-
put there for a
that is
reason?
Old insulator
Yeah.
design. And I have never seen one outside of Aldwych or our collection.
Well, I reckon you
So that
deserve
is
a
a find.
photograph with it. Do you want to lay down on the dirt?
I think I want a photo with Laura, because I can't help but think of Laura
Would you
when I
like to
think
hold your
Aldwych.
probe?
So, Laura, I feel like because we haven't had tiles today, I have to find enough ceramics for you.
And then they squatted down.
Nice, that is a good shot. Actually, that was a really nice shot.
Oh!
Right. Oh, just blinded myself then.
This is technically the Piccadilly line.
Yeah, where are we?
Oh.
Yeah.
Right, so that explains it then.
Right.
So it's because it's pick line.
Yeah.
Honestly, I know it's a really dull functional
No,
thing,
no,
but
Alex,
the
you
fact that
sounded
it
really
survives
sincere.
somewhere
How
in active
interesting.
use is amazing to me.
That is
'Cause
pretty cool.
Because that's a really interesting point. Who would have built the King's Cross Loop? Would it have been
Well-
Great Northern, Piccadilly and Brompton?
Well, because it's got LER,
So it was the unified
Yeah.
London Electric Railways.
yeah, because they were grouping them by that point. But that is, yeah, it makes total sense. But I mean, look, you can see that the issue is when you replace the rail, you very easily chip those, and then they have to be replaced. So the fact that that those have survived, I suppose that the rail won't have to be replaced that often, will it? There you go. We are at the boundary.
Piccadilly,
So the
Northern
track
Line.
maintenance boundary is just here. Behind us is Northern Line, and it's Piccadilly's responsibility.
Here it
that
all
way.
in.
Wow.
Oh, and also, now look, again, another trivia question for you here. It is the 38.8 kilometre boundary. Where is that measured from?
Is it Ongar?
It is Ongar, well done.
You're supposed to raise your hand.
This is right,
Oh,
Chris
did you
did
know
get his
the
hand up
answer?
first, and I know he knew it. He just
Chris-
blurted it out.
Chris was playing fair.
So, yeah. The 0 mile marker is at Ongar, except it's not. The original is in our collection.
Your signal on that branch, so we have to stop on that. If we don't stop on that, it won't enter.
Oh, is that the bit where you change over?
So if you accidentally pull right up to the red signal, then yeah, you're not going to enter.
Interesting. So that was the one we stopped at, wasn't it?
Yep.
Victoria line over. So presume the Victoria line is going over the top.
Oh, wow. Oh, I see, and that's what those white markers are. That's the length of this tunnel where it's got Victoria line over the top of it. Those dotted lines are.
Well spotted.
Well done.
Cool. Sharp-eyed. It's even got one of these old ones surviving on the outside, which are slightly different because, of course, they're higher. That is just incredible, that survived. Been doing its job for over 100 years, that. Now then, Alex, what do these do again?
Oh, hello, what? Oh, they count axles.
Excellent. Question is, how do they count them? Are they like a radio beacon that's bouncing?
It's magnetic. Yeah.
Good return there, Alex. Shots fired.
And here we are, as we approach King's Cross Piccadilly line. We've walked the loop.
It's more than that, we've looped the loop tonight.
Yeah.
Two of them.
It's a lot of loops. I was getting very confused. Bless Alex for all the messages and maps and texts to help me.
Well, and
You've done very well.
Chris and Neil for
I was going to say, this has been a proper
yeah.
collaboration,
all of
this
the
one.
working it out. And
From Stuart and the beautiful cab journey here to the look at the facet. Look at
oh
this.
my word! Yet another mad junction.
What?
Oh, it's
That's because Piccadilly line trains can reverse off the King's Cross and go westbound. Yeah?
Oh, so
Right.
that's a crossover.
Yeah, it's a crossover.
so.
So we can
Neil, are we allowed onto this bit?
Yeah, we've booked out on
Cool.
here, but
I'm
only just up as far as here. We can't walk down there.
Oh, okay. Because I think you can just see you've got our old friend step plate junctions going on there. Always good.
Do you just call them our old friends?
Well, we have seen them a lot. And that thing I was talking about when we were on the train as well about the car markers for the driver. So if their cab is level with that, for example, then car number 3 is still back there in the station.
So at the beginning of the evening, I was a little bit nervous that all the different component parts of this plan were not going to go to plan. But weirdly, thanks to you and you and you and you,
You pulled it off.
I pulled it off, which is marvellous. It's a good trick if you can do it.
I'm going to say filming on the train was, by far the most nervous
Awesome.
I've been in
Awesome.
since we started doing
But that
this.
was in itself an amazing experience. Then we saw the King's Cross loop. We rode that by train. Then we discovered the Euston loop that I didn't even know existed until recently. And we're back at King's Cross, ready to catch our bus.
Well, I'm delighted because it's kind of scratched an itch. I've had those plans and maps that showed these routes existed for ages. I'd seen off the end of platform 6 at Euston and knew that this loop came up here, but never done it before.
What did you make of it? Because I know you were a little bit sceptical, weren't you?
I can't lie, I was. You know me, I like a tile, I like a poster, I like a lot of colour. I mean, we've got some orange hivers on, but it's, you know. And I was going to leave it to you guys. I thought it's a bit engineering-y for me, maybe. But the train ride was a winner.
It's so cool.
Can't lie.
Cool, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I love the fact we went places tonight that I could never go on a train on unless I was with the engineers.
And for me, that last little nugget that we discovered down there of those surviving bits of the original line still doing their job over 100
Pretty
years
special.
old, that is, you're only going to have that find if you're in that particular bit of tunnel.
You wanted
maybe.
secrets, we'll give you secrets. Thank you very much as always. Thank you so much to our crew who's behind. As always, thank you very much indeed for watching. Find us on Instagram, Alex Grundon, Chris Nix, City Holloway, hi, and Hidden London Law. And comment down below on YouTube with what you want to see next. From all of us, have yourself a great day and stay safe.